Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. You will not believe what has happened this week. So like anyone who knows me knows I am the coffee woman. Like you will never find me out of my house without a cup of coffee, like in my car, in my hand, nearby. Like I always make sure I have access to coffee all the time. If I come to your house, I don't want a tour of the house. I don't need to use the restroom. I need you to make me a cup of coffee. Like that is baseline hospitality. So everyone who knows me knows like coffee and we're just like, we're close. And somehow I've decided to stop drinking coffee, and I actually can't even pin down how that's happened, but here we are. So it has been over a week now of successful no coffeeing, and I am not a monster, and that is a miracle in and of itself. So I want to tell you guys like about my journey, but number one, like how you guys can actually like go on this journey as well. The biggest thing you have to think about is like withdrawal. The withdrawal is so real, like splitting headaches, like tremors, irritability, light sensitivity. You don't want that. So I will tell you how to curb all of that, and then how you can actually like keep your morning rituals and like have warm beverages that you actually enjoy in the morning. So I'm gonna give you guys towards the end of this 2 recipes that I use, one with caffeine and one without caffeine, because everyone does this for different reasons. So for me, coffee is extremely damaging to my teeth, and I'm spending a lot of money right now with my dentist trying to like take a couple steps back and be like, fix it. So it's extremely damaging on the teeth. And then some people quit drinking coffee just because like they want to use their own natural energy stores. You can switch to decaf, but if you have like a really high intake of caffeine, it's still going to hurt even if you're drinking coffee that's decaf. It's the caffeine that makes it so difficult to kind of take a step away from. But then also some people, they want to stop drinking coffee because they want to go to other nutritional options. There are tons of different drinks that you can like have. There's just so much I want to like show you guys, but I have to start small. I'm trying to start small, but there's like so many awesome options out there. So I'm gonna start with 2 for you guys, show you what I'm using. They don't cost a lot to get the ingredients. Some of the other drinks that I'm more into, they do have a little bit of a financial threshold just because you might have to order it online, or the ingredients are a little bit more difficult to find or get, or something you want to get a higher quality of. So I'm starting with 2 that are really simple. But the biggest thing I can tell you guys, if you want to make sure you don't have horrible withdrawal effects, is this is like so important, guys. So lean in close. Number 1, figure out how much coffee or caffeine you have to date. That is so important. Like figure out how much you're having already, because what you're going to want to do is take that amount and split it in half. It doesn't have to be down to the grams or anything like that, but think about like how many cups of coffee do you have today? So for me, I have anywhere between 4 and 5 cups of coffee. And so what I did is I split that in half, and then the next day I split that in half. It's so important. Like your body is going to be screaming like, give me the juice, give me the goods. It's going to turn you into a monster if you try to quit cold turkey. So I would highly recommend figuring out how much coffee you have now, splitting that bad boy in half, and going down from there. One of the recipes that I'm going to give you guys does have caffeine in it, and I will tell you which one. It does have caffeine in it, so if you're looking to maybe just stop coffee because it's like damaging your teeth, but you don't want to go cold turkey, you can totally go to one of those. So I will not waste any more of your time. Let's get on into it. So I'm gonna give you guys 2 different recipes. The first one's going to be a matcha green tea latte. The second one's going to be a turmeric latte. I like both of these because I can make these super simple at 6 a.m. in the morning, or I can take them to the office and make them really quickly in the office, and most importantly, quietly. I hate like when you hear like people's like morning blenders in the morning and all of that. So that's important to me. It might not be important to you, but it's important to me. So I'm going to show you everything that you're going to need for both of these recipes. For the first one, it's going to be a matcha latte. I actually keep these in glass jars. I'll tell you guys a little bit more about this, but this helps me so I can remember what I'm getting from each of the supplements or the different foods and herbs that I have, so I don't forget. You're going to need some matcha powder. You're also going to need a little frother. I have a little bit left on there from when I made one of these earlier. I got this at IKEA for $3, guys, $3. And I've had this thing for years. I've had this since college, I think. There are definitely much better frothers out there, but if you're just trying to get into the door, you just need an entry point. Awesome investment. It just takes 2 AA batteries. You'll also need some plant-based milk. I do not do dairy, and so I recommend soy milk because I'm allergic to nut milk, but whatever you have, almond milk, cashew milk, oat milk, soy milk, all the milks, get whatever you want. They all work the same. The other thing, this is totally optional, you might want for the matcha latte, is some maca powder. I put it in there. I like maca because it's a hormone balancer, and I actually kind of like the taste. It kind of tastes like almost desserty, but not sweet, so don't get your hopes up. And then for the turmeric latte, you're gonna need the milk, the frother, of course, but you're also gonna need some turmeric. For your turmeric latte, the way that I prepare it, I would recommend the powder, but if you have it in the raw form and you wanna like break it up, you can probably throw it in the blender just to get it to break down. Whatever works for you, whatever you guys have. Matcha is probably a couple, maybe $1 to $2 an ounce. And turmeric is also pretty inexpensive and you can find it everywhere, so that's a win. So let's start with number 1. For this first recipe for the matcha, we're going to start with about half a cup's worth of really hot water. You can eyeball it, it doesn't have to be precise, but it depends on what size coffee cup you have. And what we'll do is we will take the matcha, we'll do about a tablespoon worth. Next, we want to take about a half teaspoon to 1 teaspoon of maca powder. So before we move on, just make sure you don't have any clumps because it's going to be really gross if you drink it and you didn't get all of the clumps out. Really check at the bottom, but this is the fun part. So let's take some soy milk. You can totally eyeball it. I probably add about a 1/4 cup in there, just about the same amount that I would if it was coffee. And then I take my frother and I get to work. Next, we want to add in some cinnamon. I really like cinnamon. You probably don't need to be that heavy-handed. But this is our latte. Cheers! That is so good. Like, I love the cinnamon on top because like your first sip is like cinnamon and matcha all in one. It's just so good. I love it. Now, one thing I want to point out is I actually don't put sugar in my coffee or my tea, so you might be noticing like, oh, it's not sweet. I just don't put sugar in my drinks like that. I think it's a really good habit to try and not put refined sugars in the foods and drinks that we have. But if you're into it, go for it. If you're looking for alternatives, I would recommend like local honey, maple syrup, agave, anything like that, and then maybe working your way off. So for this next one, it's going to be a turmeric latte. This one does not have caffeine in it. So if you're looking for that cold turkey, no caffeine, this is the way to go. So for this one, we're gonna do about half water, half milk. So I have about half super hot water in here. I'm just gonna go ahead and add the milk. You can go ahead and warm this up on the stove. I personally don't, just because I'm typically limited on time, but you can if you want to get the drink to be super hot like you might have your coffee. Then we're gonna add some turmeric. I always eyeball this, but I would say it's about 1 solid teaspoon to a very humble tablespoon. If you've never had turmeric before, it's a little bit earthy. So just keep that in mind if you're not into that kind of like flavor. I love that. I love this one because it kind of tastes like something like almost something like my grandmother would have given me when I'd go stay with her in the country, because it doesn't taste bad, but it tastes very like herby and like medicinal, which makes sense because turmeric does have like a lot of anti-inflammatory properties. Between this one and the matcha, I think this one is my favorite in terms of taste. You can boost it just with a little bit of local honey if you're looking to sweeten it a little bit, but I really like the turmeric a lot. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm about to enjoy this turmeric latte. One thing I probably should note is that turmeric actually stains anything it touches, so be careful with your fingers, be careful with those beautiful white countertops if you have that, but most importantly, enjoy and explore. Bye.